two 18-year-olds, one night of celebration, and a silence that lasted 12 years. In May 2005, Sandy Martinez and Ashley Thompson vanished without a trace during a graduation party in Miami, Florida. Their families desperately searched for answers that never came. The police followed every lead, but the case went cold, cold as the winter nights. What dark secrets were hidden in that mansion? Why did two bright girls with their whole futures ahead of them simply disappear? For more than a decade, these questions haunted an entire community. But in 2017, when excavators arrived to demolish the property, they discovered something that would change everything forever. The truth was quite literally buried, and what they found at the bottom of an old abandoned well would uncover a conspiracy involving drugs, corruption, and a cover-up that lasted over a decade. This is the true story of how justice finally arrived, 12 years too late. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more cases like this, and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. The night air in Miami was filled with Latin music and youthful laughter. The Coral Gables High School graduation party sprawled across the mansion of the Rodriguez family, a wealthy household in the exclusive neighborhood of Pinecrest. Palm trees lit up the garden while hundreds of students celebrated the end of a chapter. Sandy Martinez, 18, arrived accompanied by her best friend, Ashley Thompson. The two had been inseparable since 6th grade. They shared everything: secrets, dreams, and the excitement of starting college that fall. Sandy, with her wavy black hair and contagious smile, was studying to become a teacher. Ashley, a reserved blonde with blue eyes, dreamed of becoming a veterinarian. The party was going smoothly until 11:30 p.m., when several witnesses saw the girls heading toward the back of the property, where an old abandoned well sat, covered by wooden planks. No one paid much attention. Student parties always had groups wandering throughout the house. At around 2 a.m., when the celebration began to wind down, Sandy's parents noticed their daughter wasn't answering calls. The Thompsons were also frantically searching for Ashley. Both families gathered at the party, asking every guest if they had seen the girls. The initial search was chaotic. The party organizers, nervous about possible legal consequences, downplayed the situation. Some intoxicated students gave contradictory statements. Marcos Rodriguez, the host, insisted the girls had left the party early. At 6 a.m. on May 16th, the families filed an official missing persons report. Detective Carlos Vasquez, a veteran of the Miami-Dade Police Department, took the case. The first hours were critical, but over 6 had already passed since Sandy and Ashley were last seen. Investigators found both girls' purses in the garden near the pool, but their cell phones were missing. Sandy's parents revealed she had recently argued with her ex-boyfriend, Roberto Salinas, who had not been invited to the party, but several witnesses claimed they had seen him nearby. Detective Vasquez launched the investigation with a team of 6 officers. The Rodriguez mansion was cordoned off as a crime scene, while forensic technicians searched for evidence. The 200 guests were summoned for individual questioning. The first 48 hours produced conflicting information. Maria Gomez, a classmate, said she saw Sandy and Ashley talking to 3 unfamiliar men near the pool around 11 p.m. One was described as tall, with tattoos on his arms and around 25 years old. Roberto Salinas, Sandy's ex-boyfriend, had a solid alibi. He had been working a night shift at a South Beach restaurant, with multiple witnesses confirming his presence all night. However, close friends revealed Roberto had threatened Sandy during their last argument, saying she'd regret not getting back together with him. The Thompson family hired a private investigator, James Morrison, who began his own parallel search. Morrison discovered Ashley had been receiving text messages from an unknown number in the weeks leading up to the party. The messages included invitations to private meetings and some veiled threats. The trail from the girls' cell phones was completely lost. Cell towers last recorded signals at 11:45 p.m., precisely in the Pinecrest area. After that time, both devices appeared to vanish. Investigators interrogated Marcos Rodriguez, the host, who showed excessive nervousness. His story changed several times during questioning. He initially said he hadn't seen the girls after 10 p.m., but later admitted they had gone to the backyard. The search expanded to nearby swamps, canals, and wooded areas around Pinecrest. Helicopters flew overhead for days, and divers explored the region's canals and lakes. Trained dogs tracked scents from the mansion to various city points. But no concrete clues emerged. A month after the disappearance, the investigation split into multiple theories. One suggested Sandy and Ashley had been kidnapped by a human trafficking network operating out of the Port of Miami. This theory gained traction when two similar cases of missing girls were reported in nearby counties. Another theory pointed to Roberto Salinas. Despite his alibi, his erratic behavior following the disappearance raised concerns. Family members said he had been heavily using drugs and alcohol and had made cryptic comments about Sandy that alarmed those close to him. Investigators also explored connections to local gangs. In 2005, Miami was experiencing a rise in youth-related crime, particularly in areas where students from different socioeconomic backgrounds mixed. The Rodriguez mansion sat at the edge between exclusive neighborhoods and more troubled communities. A false lead nearly derailed the investigation. A man named Pedro Hernandez claimed to have seen two girls matching Sandy and Ashley's descriptions at a gas station near the airport 3 days after their disappearance. This led to a massive deployment of resources to the airport area. However, the Miami International Airport search revealed Hernandez had fabricated his story to claim the $50,000 reward offered by the families. His false testimony wasted 2 valuable weeks of police time and resources. James Morrison, the private investigator, followed a different trail. He found that Ashley Thompson had been secretly investigating illegal activities at her school. A diary in her room revealed suspicions about a teacher allegedly selling drugs to students. 7 months after the disappearance, the official investigation began to lose momentum. Detective Vasquez had exhausted the main leads and was under pressure to shift resources to newer cases. Physical searches ended, and the interrogations yielded no useful information. The Martinez and Thompson families organized multiple media campaigns, appeared on local and national television shows, distributed thousands of flyers, and maintained a website dedicated to the search. Miami's Latino community mobilized massively, organizing marches and events to keep the girls' memory alive. During this period, conflicting statements emerged from students who had attended the party. Some changed their original accounts, while others revealed they had withheld information out of fear or intoxication that night. The conflicting testimonies further complicated the investigation. Roberto Salinas was subjected to multiple interrogations and polygraph tests. While he showed signs of stress and anxiety, no physical evidence ever connected him directly to the disappearance. His family hired a lawyer, and Roberto stopped voluntarily cooperating with the investigation. Sandy's parents hired a second private investigator, Patricia Vega, who specialized in missing persons cases. She focused on behavioral pattern analysis and potential links to similar cases in other states. Her work revealed similarities with disappearances in California and Texas, but no definitive connection was ever established. By the end of 2005, the case of Sandy Martinez and Ashley Thompson was officially classified as cold in the police records. This meant it remained open, but with no active investigation. The families felt abandoned by the justice system and began to lose hope of ever finding answers. Over the next decade, Sandy and Ashley's case gradually faded from public attention. The media moved on to other stories, and only the families kept the search alive. On every anniversary of the disappearance, the Martinez and Thompson families organized vigils and renewed their pleas for information. In 2008, a false lead temporarily reactivated the investigation. A federal inmate claimed to know the location of the girls' bodies in exchange for a reduced sentence. Authorities invested resources to verify his claims, but the story turned out to be completely fabricated. Years went by with no significant breakthroughs. Roberto Salinas moved to another state, trying to rebuild his life away from constant suspicion. Marcos Rodriguez, the party host, sold the family mansion and also relocated, claiming he needed to escape the traumatic memories. In 2010, the families created the Sandy and Ashley Foundation, a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping other families with missing person cases. The foundation provided emotional support, legal resources, and assistance with search campaigns. Private investigator Patricia Vega continued working on the case intermittently. In 2012, she discovered that several original witnesses from the party had been threatened into altering their testimonies. 2 students confidentially revealed that they had received anonymous phone calls warning them of consequences if they spoke about what they truly saw that night. Detective Carlos Vasquez retired from the police department in 2013, but maintained contact with the families and occasionally reviewed the case file. Vasquez privately admitted that the case had haunted him for years and that he suspected key information had been hidden from the very beginning. 12 years after the disappearance, a real estate development company acquired the former Rodriguez property to build a luxury residential complex. The original mansion would be demolished and the land completely redeveloped to create modern condominiums. Miguel Santamaria, foreman for the construction company Desarrollos del Sur, arrived early that morning to supervise the excavation work. His team included heavy machinery operators, engineers, and workers specialized in site preparation. In the early hours, excavation proceeded normally. Workers removed surface structures, drainage systems, and old foundations, aiming to level the land for new construction. At 10:30 a.m., Jose Morales, an excavator operator, noticed something unusual while working in the backyard area. His machine had struck something solid underground, unlike expected rocks or structures. Upon closer inspection, he discovered what appeared to be a circular well covered by severely deteriorated wooden planks. Miguel Santamaria approached to examine the discovery. The well was about 1.5 meters in diameter and appeared very deep. The planks covering it were rotted and partially collapsed, likely from years of exposure to Miami's humidity. The workers illuminated the well with powerful flashlights. What they saw left them speechless. The well was filled with stagnant water, debris, and years of accumulated garbage. But most shocking was what floated partially submerged in the murky water. Santa Maria immediately ordered all work to stop and contacted authorities. At 11:45 a.m., the first police patrol arrived on the scene. Officers confirmed what the workers had found: visible human remains at the bottom of the abandoned well. The area was cordoned off as a crime scene. The current cold case detective, Elena Rodriguez, was notified and arrived at the site with the forensic team. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. After 12 years, the answers might lie exactly where everything had started. Recovering the remains from the well required a complex technical operation. Specialized divers descended with breathing equipment and underwater cameras to document every detail before disturbing the scene. The stagnant water had preserved some evidence, but had also caused significant deterioration. Chief Medical Examiner Dr. Antonio Mendoza personally oversaw the recovery. The initial findings confirmed the presence of 2 human skeletons, both belonging to young women. The remains were mixed with debris, trash bags, and other objects that had been thrown into the well over the years. Among the recovered items were 2 cell phones in advanced states of decay, but with serial numbers still legible. Verification confirmed they belonged to Sandy Martinez and Ashley Thompson. Jewelry was also found, including a ring that Sandy's mother immediately identified as her daughter's graduation gift. Preliminary dental analyses confirmed their identities. After 12 years of uncertainty, the families finally knew that Sandy and Ashley had died the night of the party. However, the circumstances of their deaths required further investigation. Dr. Mendoza began the post-mortem examination. The bones showed signs of trauma, including skull fractures that suggested violence before death. The positioning of the skeletons in the well indicated the bodies had been thrown in, not accidentally fallen. Detective Elena Rodriguez officially reopened the case as a double homicide. Her first move was to locate all participants from the original investigation. Retired Detective Carlos Vasquez was contacted to offer his experience and insights. News of the discovery spread quickly through Miami. Local and national media intensely covered the story. The Martinez and Thompson families, after years of uncertainty, now faced a new reality. Their daughters had been murdered, and the killers had remained free for over a decade. With physical evidence finally available, Detective Elena Rodriguez formed a specialized team to reinvestigate the case. Her first objective was to re-interview everyone who had been at the 2005 party, most of whom were now adults with families and careers. Forensic technology had advanced significantly over the past 12 years. Though severely damaged, the recovered cell phones were sent to specialized labs capable of extracting data from devices in extreme conditions. The results revealed text messages and calls made the night of the disappearance. Phone records showed that Ashley had received a call at 11:35 p.m. from a number not in her contacts. The call lasted just 45 seconds. Sandy had sent a text to her mother at 11:40 p.m. saying, "All good, see you tomorrow." but investigators suspected someone else may have sent that message. Roberto Salinas, now 30 and living in Orlando, was located and summoned for a new interview. He appeared genuinely shocked upon learning about the discovery of the bodies. For years, Salinas had insisted that Sandy and Ashley had run away voluntarily, possibly to start a new life elsewhere. Marcos Rodriguez, the original party host, was more resistant. Now a successful attorney in Tampa, he hired legal counsel before any interrogation. His lawyer argued that since Rodriguez had been a minor in 2005, any previous statement might not be legally valid. Detective Rodriguez used modern investigative techniques to digitally reconstruct the night of May 15, 2005. She analyzed social media records, photographs from the party that had surfaced online years later, and witness testimonies that had remained buried in silence for more than a decade. A major breakthrough came when Carolina Vasquez, a classmate of Sandy and Ashley, voluntarily contacted the police. Carolina revealed that she had kept a secret for 12 years out of fear of retaliation. That night, she saw the two girls being forced toward the well area by three men, one of whom she recognized as the older brother of Marcos Rodriguez. A new line of investigation focused on Diego Rodriguez, Marcos's older brother, who was 24 years old in 2005. Diego had been present at the party but was never thoroughly questioned during the original investigation. Detective Elena Rodriguez located Diego in Los Angeles, where he was working as an executive at a tech company. When contacted, Diego initially denied any involvement, but his nervous behavior and evasive answers raised suspicions. Financial records revealed that Diego had abruptly left Miami 3 weeks after the disappearance, allegedly to take a job in California. However, investigators discovered that he had rejected a very attractive local job offer before suddenly relocating out of state. Confronted with mounting evidence, Diego Rodriguez requested to speak with a lawyer. During legal negotiations, his attorney suggested that his client might provide valuable information in exchange for favorable considerations in a potential indictment. Psychological pressure increased when investigators interrogated the other two men identified by Carolina Vasquez. One of them, Rafael Dominguez, had died in a car accident in 2009. The other, Luis Mendoza, was located in prison serving a sentence for unrelated crimes. Facing a life sentence under the three strikes law, Luis Mendoza agreed to fully cooperate with the investigation. His confession revealed chilling details about the night of May 15, 2005. According to Mendoza, he, Diego Rodriguez, and Rafael Dominguez had been selling drugs during the party. Sandy and Ashley witnessed a drug deal that went wrong and resulted in violence. When the girls threatened to report what they had seen, the three men followed them to the well area. The situation escalated quickly. In the struggle, Ashley was struck and fell into the well. Sandy tried to help her friend, but was also pushed in. In a panic, the three men threw debris into the well and covered it with wooden planks, believing they could hide the crime forever. Luis Mendoza's confession gave prosecutors the information needed to press formal charges. Diego Rodriguez was arrested in Los Angeles and extradited to Miami to face double homicide charges. His younger brother, Marcos, was charged as an accessory after the fact for helping cover up the crime. The trial became a national media event. After 12 years of uncertainty, the Martinez and Thompson families finally saw the possibility of justice for their daughters. The media closely followed each development in the case. Diego Rodriguez initially pleaded not guilty, but the physical and testimonial evidence was overwhelming. Forensic analysis of the remains confirmed both young women had suffered blunt force trauma before their deaths. The recovered cell phones contained digital evidence that supported Mendoza's account. During the trial, more details emerged about the corruption that had tainted the original investigation. Several witnesses admitted they had been threatened or bribed to alter their testimonies. The Rodriguez family had used their financial and social influence to shield Diego during the early stages of the investigation. Detective Carlos Vasquez, now 65, testified about the frustrations he experienced during the original case. He admitted he had suspected the party organizers' family connections, but political pressure and a lack of solid evidence had limited his ability to investigate further. In October 2017, Diego Rodriguez was found guilty of double homicide and sentenced to 2 life terms without the possibility of parole. His brother Marcos received a 15-year sentence for obstruction of justice and complicity. The Martinez and Thompson families expressed mixed feelings after the verdict. While they were grateful that justice had finally been served, nothing could bring their daughters back. Maria Martinez, Sandy's mother, stated that the pain would never completely go away, but at least they could find some peace in knowing the truth. The Sandy and Ashley Foundation continued its work, now with renewed purpose. The families used the media attention to advocate for better resources for investigating missing persons cases and for reforms in the justice system to prevent the kind of corruption that had delayed justice for so long. The case of Sandy Martinez and Ashley Thompson became a symbol of family perseverance and the importance of never giving up in the search for truth. Though their deaths were tragic, they led to positive changes in criminal investigation policies and raised public awareness about missing persons cases. The story concluded with a memorial ceremony at the site where the Rodriguez mansion once stood. The families planted 2 young oak trees in honor of Sandy and Ashley, creating a space for reflection and remembrance. Memorial plaques honored the lives of 2 young women who were taken too soon, but whose memories inspired lasting change in their community. 12 years after their disappearance, Sandy and Ashley were finally able to rest in peace, knowing that justice had prevailed and that their families had never stopped fighting for the truth. If you've made it this far and want to see more stories like this, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single story. Leave a like so we can continue sharing more stories like this. Until next time.